13. This one's actually a multi-step one. So we have to either add and then subtract, or multiply and then add. So these are going to be multi-step 13 and 14. So for 13 here, there's two ways you can do it. You can set up an equation for each one and then solve for the missing variables. But what I'm going to do is, before I do that, I'm going to cancel out what's common to simplify it a little bit more. So for example, if we look at the A's, you can only do this if they cancel. If they don't cancel, well, then you got to deal with it. So we have a missing A here. We have a 1A, an A to the fourth, and another single A. The single A's end up canceling each other out. So we can get rid of those. And then we're just left with this one, which is question mark. And then a 4 on the bottom. So since it's on the bottom, we need to subtract them. And then we want it to equal A squared. But since squared is in the denominator, that means it has to be a negative 2. So we want to know what number, so I'm going to call this X, what number, when I subtract 4, do I get negative 2? So then we just solve it by adding 4 to both sides. And we get that the missing exponent is 2. So you could have done it without canceling the A's, but this makes it a little simpler if you cancel those out in the beginning. So for the B's, there's actually nothing I can cancel out here. I guess we'll just have to solve the B's completely. So here for B, let's do the C's first because the C's can cancel. So here I have a C, a C, a C, and a missing C, and I need it to be C squared. So these individual C's cancel out. So then I have C to the 1. So 1 minus, because it's on the bottom, some number is going to give me 2, positive 2, because it's in the numerator. So 1 minus what number is going to give me 2? Well, again, you can figure that out, or you can solve for it. So I'm going to call this Y, since we already used X. So I'm going to do minus 1 from both sides. Negative 1 Y equals 1. So if I divide negative 1 from both sides, I get that the missing exponent here is 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. So on the C, this one would have to be a negative 1, because then I would do a negative and I would end up adding it to get 2. So for the C, the missing exponent is negative. B is going to be the hardest one because nothing really cancels. I mean, you can reduce some of them. Let's go ahead and combine these two. So we're going to combine the 7 and the negative 2. So it's going to stay on the bottom. And since they're together, we're just going to add them together. So 7 plus negative 2 means on the denominator we have a b to the 5th. But then up here, b cubed and b to the something equals b to the 7th. So I need to combine the b's to make a 7. So I know I'm going to subtract these. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Question mark. Oops, b to the 7th. So then I got to figure out what does this number have to be. So negative 2 plus what is going to give me 7. So again, you can set up the equation. I did an x, a y, so I can call this z. So adding 2 to both sides, I get that z is 9. And you can check it. If I had a 9 here, 9 plus 3 is 12. And then if I add these, I get a 5. And then I'm going to subtract these two numbers. 12 minus 5 is the 7 that I need. All right, so then z, which is the exponent on the b, is going to be 9. All right. So then 14, again, it's the same thing. You may be able to cancel stuff out, maybe not. So do the multi-step one and solve for the missing exponents. The last ones are multiple choice, but it asks which of the following can or cannot be simplified. So you actually have to check all the answer choices and see which one works. I'm going to work out all of them because for some of you it might be the first one, for others of you it might be the last one. So you need to show which one, what each one solves for, and then you can tell me which one answers the question at the end. All right, so luckily these aren't the tricky ones. These are just straightforward problems where you're either adding or subtracting, and then you just have to simplify it and either match it or say no, it doesn't match. All right, so these are the orders that mine go in. Again, yours is not going to be the same order, but we're going to go through all of them and see which one does not match this answer. All right, so for dividing, the number part, we divide like normal. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then for the combining part, we subtract. Because we're dividing, we subtract the exponents. 5 minus 3 is 2. For the B's, 6 minus 7 is negative 1. And for the C, this is the only C there, so we can just leave it as C cubed. And for the D's, we do 4 minus 10, and 4 minus 10 is negative 6. So here, we can just match them up and make sure they're in the correct spot. So the 4, since it's not a negative exponent, stays on the top. The 2 is positive, so that stays on the top. The B is negative, so that goes to the bottom. And again, if there's not a number there, you have to know that it's 1. The C is a positive exponent, so that stays on the top. And the D is a negative exponent, so that goes to the bottom. So this one works, which means it's not the one we want, because we want the one that doesn't work. So we're going to keep going and solve the other ones. All right, so now the second problem. Again, we're going to go through each one. So we're going to do 4 times 1, because there's nothing in front, so it's a 1. 4 times 1 is just 4. And then we combine our A's together. A and A makes 2 A's, A squared. And then combining my B's, so since we're multiplying, we're adding the exponents. So we're going to add these. 7 plus negative 8. 7 and negative 8 makes negative 1. C squared and 1C, 2 and 1 makes 3. And then D, negative 9 plus 3. Negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6. So again, we can compare it to the top one, but if it matches this one, we already know the first one works. So that's the exact same thing. So that one's going to work too, which means it's not that answer. So again, checking C. Go through each one. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Looking at the A's. 3 minus 1, because we're dividing, we subtract. 3 minus 1 is 2. Looking at the B's. 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And the C's. 4 and 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. And for D, there's a 1 here, so 1 minus 7 is negative 6. So again, 4 squared, negative 1, 3, negative. So this one works too. So we know it's going to be the last one. Or for me, it's the last one. I don't know where that one is for you. So here, we had to go through all the answer choices to get to the right one. But I just want to show you that this one works too. So here, or sorry, this one's not going to work because we want the one that doesn't work. So here we get a 4 times a 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And then we combine the a's. We get an a and an a. Makes a squared. So right now, they're still the same. For the b's, -5. Oops, too far. -5 and 4. We're adding these together. Since we're multiplying, we add the exponents. So that's going to give me a -1. -5 plus 4. And then for the c's, we add 7 and -4. 7 and -4 makes 3. And then the D, 1 and -2. 1 and -2 makes -1. And right there is where it's different. So for us, the very last exponent on the very last answer choice was the wrong one. If you did anything before that, you wouldn't have got it. Yes, I know, but I only give you a couple of these to check. Hopefully yours is not. All of them are the very last ones. Okay, so again, you're going to do the same thing. So choose that one. Make sure it's the correct exponent one. It's not the fraction ones. Make sure it's the one that has these exponents. And then you're going to do the same thing for 16, choosing the one that either does or does not simplify to the answer that's given. Okay, so go ahead and finish that homework.